Welcome to Daily English Stories. Join me on this exciting journey as we use the power of storytelling to unlock your English proficiency. Ireland had always been a distant dream, a place I'd heard so much about but never thought I'd see in person. But here I was, on the cusp of something new and exciting. My visit to the Emerald Isle was a mix of curiosity and adventure. The reason for this journey was simple. I'd always been drawn to Ireland's rich history, stunning landscapes, and warm-hearted people. My grandmother, God rest her soul, used to tell me tales of her Irish ancestors and the enchanting beauty of this land. So, I decided to follow in her footsteps and explore the very place that had captured her heart. As the plane descended towards Dublin, I couldn't help but press my face against the window, eager to catch my first glimpse of Ireland. It had been a long flight, and I could feel the excitement bubbling up inside me. The lush green fields and patchwork quilt of farms stretched out below, welcoming me to a land of rolling hills and hidden treasures. The airport, bustling with travelers from all corners of the world, had an air of anticipation and adventure. The customs officer offered a friendly smile as he stamped my passport, marking the official start of my Irish adventure. Stepping out of the airport, the crisp Irish air hit me, carrying with it a faint scent of rain and earth. It was as if Ireland itself was saying, "Welcome, traveler, to a land of stories and dreams." I caught a glimpse of a traditional Irish pub nearby, its colorful facade inviting me with promises of laughter and music. It was then that it truly sunk in. I was in Ireland, and the journey I'd been dreaming of had just begun. With my bags in tow and a heart full of excitement, I ventured out to explore this land of legends and wonder. The journey had just started, but I could already sense that Ireland had a multitude of stories to share, and I was ready to listen. My journey through Ireland wasn't just about seeing the sights. It was also about tasting the heart and soul of this enchanting place. The Irish culinary adventure was a story of flavors, warmth, and delightful encounters. My first stop was at a cozy pub in Dublin, where I decided to dive headfirst into the world of traditional Irish cuisine. The weather was a bit nippy, so I figured Irish stew would be the perfect comfort food. I took a seat by the window, watching the raindrops trickle down the glass. When the steaming bowl of Irish stew arrived, it felt like a warm hug from the inside. Chunks of tender lamb, carrots, and potatoes nestled in a savory broth that warmed my soul. It was hearty, just like the Irish hospitality. As I savored each spoonful, I couldn't help but eavesdrop on the friendly conversations around me. The locals at nearby tables were deep in chatter, and their laughter was infectious. In Galway, a coastal town that felt like it was plucked from a postcard, I discovered a small, bustling eatery. It seemed like the perfect spot for some fish and chips. The fish, golden and crispy on the outside, was incredibly tender inside. The chips were thick, with just the right amount of salt. I even tried my hand at the art of dunking them in creamy tartar sauce. Seagulls soared above me, their calls blending with the gentle crash of waves nearby. It was a seaside symphony, and I was right in the middle of it, enjoying a simple yet scrumptious meal. One sunny morning in Cork, I decided to go all out with a full Irish breakfast. It was like breakfast heaven on a plate. Eggs, sausages, crispy bacon, grilled tomatoes, and more. It was a breakfast orchestra. But what intrigued me the most was the black pudding, a unique Irish specialty made from blood and oats. I'll admit I was a bit hesitant at first, but curiosity got the best of me. To my surprise, it had this robust, earthy taste that somehow tied everything together. It was a breakfast I wouldn't soon forget. But it wasn't just about the food, it was the entire experience. The pubs and restaurants had a certain charm. They were filled with lively chatter, the clinking of glasses, and the aroma of delicious meals. People didn't just come here to eat. They came for the camaraderie. I often struck up conversations with locals at the next table, and they shared their love for these dishes and their stories. It felt like I was becoming a part of the local fabric, one meal at a time. As I explored the culinary wonders of Ireland, I realized that food was a bridge, connecting me not only to the flavors of this land, but also to its people and their stories. Ireland had a way of making every meal an adventure, and I was eager to savor each chapter of it. Ireland's history whispered to me from every stone, and my journey continued with a deep dive into its rich past. This chapter is a story of ancient castles, mysterious ruins, and the echoes of generations long gone. My first historic stop was Trim Castle in County Meath. As I approached, the castle's imposing walls rose before me, seemingly untouched by time. I learned that this Norman castle was over 800 years old. Exploring its chambers and climbing its towers was like stepping back into a medieval world. I couldn't help but imagine knights in shining armor and grand feasts in the great hall. The history here was palpable, and I felt like a time traveler unraveling its secrets. Next on my list was the Rock of Cashel, perched on a hill in County Tipperary. The Celtic crosses and ancient round tower against the backdrop of the rolling Irish countryside were a sight to behold. The guide shared tales of kings and saints, of battles and coronations, and it all came to life in my mind's eye. I stood in the same place where history had unfolded, and it sent shivers down my spine. The Rock of Cashel was not just a place, it was a living, breathing testament to Ireland's storied past. A visit to Clonmacnoise Monastery along the River Shannon was a peaceful pause in my journey. The weathered crosses and intricately carved gravestones told stories of monks, scholars, and pilgrims who had sought solace here for centuries. The tranquility of the place was broken only by the gentle breeze rustling through the ancient trees. It was a moment of reflection, a connection to the spiritual side of Ireland's history. Each of these historic sites left me with a sense of wonder and awe. The stories of the past came alive, and I felt like a guest in a time capsule. I realized that history wasn't just about dates and facts. It was about people, their triumphs and their struggles. It was about the heartbeats of generations that had left their mark on this land. As I explored these historic sites, I couldn't help but feel humbled by the weight of history and the resilience of the Irish people. This chapter of my journey was not just about visiting places, it was about understanding the soul of Ireland through the echoes of its past. While the landscapes and landmarks of Ireland were undeniably breathtaking, it was the people I encountered along the way who truly made my journey unforgettable. It is a story of friendly faces, heartfelt conversations, and the connections that added warmth to my adventure. My first memorable encounter with a local happened in a cozy Dublin pub. As I sipped my pint of Guinness, I struck up a conversation with Seamus, a retired school teacher sitting next to me. We talked about everything from Irish history to the latest football match. Seamus had a twinkle in his eye as he shared stories of growing up in Dublin. He recommended places to visit and even jotted down his favorite local spots on a napkin. That chance meeting turned into an unexpected friendship, and I left the pub with not only travel tips, but also a sense of the genuine warmth of the Irish people. One sunny day in County Kerry, I decided to tackle a hiking trail known for its stunning views. Along the way, I met Liam, a fellow hiker. We walked together, sharing our love for the outdoors and the beauty of the Irish countryside. Liam pointed out hidden waterfalls and shared his knowledge of the local flora and fauna. We talked about our lives, dreams, and the simple joy of being in nature. When we reached the summit, we sat in silence, taking in the breathtaking panorama of hills and lakes. It was a friendship born out of a shared adventure. These interactions with the locals weren't just chance encounters, they were windows into the heart of Ireland. Each person I met added depth to my journey, offering not only insights into the culture and traditions, but also the warmth and kindness that were woven into the fabric of this land. I realized that Ireland wasn't just a place on the map. It was a community of people who embraced visitors like long-lost friends. Their stories, their laughter, and their generosity left an indelible mark on my journey, reminding me that the true beauty of travel lies in the connections we make along the way. My exploration of Ireland wasn't limited to its charming towns and historic sites. It extended to the breathtaking landscapes that seemed straight out of a fairy tale. It is a tale of rolling hills, rugged cliffs, and outdoor adventures that left me in awe of Mother Nature's beauty. Leaving the bustling city of Dublin behind, I ventured into the heart of Ireland's countryside. The landscape unfolded like a patchwork quilt of green fields, dotted with grazing sheep and quaint farmhouses. I couldn't resist stopping to capture the beauty with my camera. As I wandered through the fields, I met a local farmer named Sean who was tending to his herd. He shared stories of life in the countryside and the changing seasons that shaped his livelihood. It was a simple encounter, but it deepened my appreciation for the serenity of rural Ireland. A visit to the cliffs of Moher was a highlight of my journey. Towering 700 feet above the Atlantic Ocean, the cliffs were a breathtaking masterpiece of nature. The gusty winds and the roar of the crashing waves were exhilarating. I hiked along the cliff's edge, feeling a sense of wonder and humility. The view stretched for miles, and I realized just how small I was in the grand scheme of things. It was a moment of pure connection with the natural world. One sunny day, I rented a bicycle and set out to explore the wild Atlantic Way, a coastal route that offered some of the most stunning views I had ever seen. The salty sea breeze tousled my hair as I pedaled along the rugged coastline. Seabirds soared overhead, and the sound of the waves crashing against the rocks was a soothing soundtrack. I stopped at hidden beaches and charming fishing villages, soaking in the tranquility of it all. It was a reminder that sometimes the best way to experience a place is at your own pace. These scenic adventures were more than just sightseeing. They were a chance to connect with the natural beauty of Ireland. The landscapes spoke of timelessness and resilience, and they left me with a sense of peace and wonder. Whether it was the rolling countryside, the majestic cliffs, or the coastal beauty, each place had its own story to tell, and I was fortunate to be a part of it. As I continued my journey through Ireland, I carried with me the memories of these scenic wonders, a reminder that there's no adventure quite like the one nature provides. Ireland wasn't just about beautiful landscapes and delicious food. It was a place where culture came to life in colorful festivals, cherished traditions, and a warm embrace of customs. This chapter is a tale of my immersive journey into the heart of Irish culture. My visit coincided with the festival of St. Patrick, the patron saint of Ireland. Dublin was ablaze with green, and the city was alive with celebrations. I joined the vibrant parade, where locals and visitors alike were donned in green hats and shamrocks. The music, dance, and laughter filled the streets. It wasn't just a parade. It was a sea of smiles and a testament to the Irish spirit of celebration. In Galway, I stumbled upon a traditional Irish dance performance. The dancers moved with such grace and precision, their feet a blur of intricate steps. I couldn't help but tap my own feet to the infectious rhythm. After the show, I met some of the dancers, who were more than happy to teach me a few basic steps. It was a chance to connect with a dance that was not only an art form, but also a cultural style. In the charming town of Claddagh, I learned about the famous Claddagh ring, a symbol of love and friendship. I visited a local jeweler's shop and listened as the owner shared the story behind the ring. He explained that how you wear it, on your right hand with the heart facing out, you're open to love, or inwards, you're taken, carries meaning. As I left the shop with my own Claddagh ring, I felt like I was taking a piece of Irish culture with me. One evening in a cozy pub, I had the pleasure of sitting by the fireplace, listening to a local storyteller. With a twinkle in his eye and a pint in hand, he regaled us with tales of ancient legends, mythical creatures, and historical figures. The way he painted pictures with his words made me feel like I was part of the stories, living them with each sentence. It was a reminder of the power of storytelling to connect generations and keep history alive. These cultural experiences weren't just about observing from the sidelines. They were invitations to become a part of Ireland's living culture. I found myself not just as a traveler, but as a participant. Whether it was joining in a dance, celebrating a festival, or wearing a symbol of Irish heritage. My immersion in Irish culture was a reminder that culture isn't static. It's a living, breathing entity that thrives through the people who cherish it. It was a chapter of my journey that brought me closer to the heart of Ireland and its people. As my journey through Ireland continued, I soon discovered that some of the most memorable moments were the ones I never saw coming. This chapter is a collection of unexpected adventures, delightful surprises, and the magic of serendipity that made my trip truly unique. While hiking in County Kerry, I took a detour down a narrow trail that led into a lush forest. I had no idea where it would take me, but I followed the sound of running water. To my astonishment, I stumbled upon a hidden waterfall cascading down moss-covered rocks. The sight was like something out of a fairy tale. I sat there, mesmerized by the beauty, the cool mist on my face, and the sense of discovery that filled my heart. One rainy afternoon in a small village, I sought refuge in a tiny cafe. The place was empty except for a lone figure at the counter. We exchanged polite nods and went back to our coffee. As the rain poured outside, the stranger struck up a conversation. We talked about the weather, travel, and life's little joys. It turned out that she was a local artist, and before I knew it, we were discussing art and creativity. It was a conversation that lasted for hours, and it felt like reconnecting with an old friend. Along the wild Atlantic Way, I had planned to visit a famous beach, but the weather had other ideas. It started pouring. Determined not to let the rain dampen my spirits, I found a sheltered spot and decided to have a picnic with the snacks I had in my bag. Just as I was about to take my first bite, a friendly dog appeared out of nowhere, wagging its tail. I shared my sandwich with my newfound furry friend, and we sat there, watching the stormy sea together. It was a moment of simple joy and companionship. While exploring an ancient forest, I managed to lose my way on a maze of winding trails. Panic started to set in, but just as I was about to retrace my steps, I heard the faint sound of a flute in the distance. I followed the music, and it led me to a hidden glen where a local musician was playing beneath a canopy of trees. The music, like a guiding star, had brought me to a place of unexpected beauty and serenity. These unexpected discoveries were like little treasures scattered along my path. They were the moments that added a dash of magic to my journey. reminding me that sometimes the best adventures are the ones you stumble upon when you least expect them. Each unexpected encounter, each surprising turn of events, and each moment of serendipity left me with a deeper appreciation for the spontaneity of travel and the wonders of the world. As my time in Ireland drew to a close, I found myself sitting by the serene shores of the Atlantic Ocean, watching the waves dance to a timeless rhythm. This chapter is a tale of reflection, personal growth, and the profound impact this journey had on my heart and soul. Ireland, with its warm-hearted people and captivating landscapes, had a way of making me feel connected, not just to the place but to the essence of life itself. The rolling hills, ancient castles, and lively pubs had woven their stories into the fabric of my being. I realized that the world was vast and diverse, yet there were threads of humanity that bound us all together. The art of storytelling, so deeply ingrained in Irish culture, had touched me in unexpected ways. The stories of legends, folklore, and personal experiences shared by the locals had opened my heart to the power of narratives. Stories were bridges between generations, and they allowed me to see the world through different lenses. Ireland had taught me to embrace serendipity, to welcome unexpected moments and turn them into precious memories. The hidden waterfall, the conversation with a stranger, the seaside picnic. These were the gifts of spontaneity that had enriched my journey. I learned that life's greatest treasures often lay just around the corner, waiting to be discovered. Perhaps the most significant change was the gift of gratitude. Ireland had a way of making me appreciate the simple joys of life: a hearty meal, a warm conversation, a walk through nature. I had learned to savor each moment, knowing that the beauty of life often lay in the details. My journey through Ireland had not only deepened my appreciation for this remarkable country, but also for the world as a whole. It had reminded me that every place, every culture, and every person had a story worth discovering. It had taught me that travel was not just about seeing new places. It was about opening your heart and mind to new experiences, new perspectives, and new ways of being. As I gazed at the horizon, I realized that Ireland had left an indelible mark on my soul. It had transformed me, not in grand and dramatic ways, but in subtle shifts of perspective and a deeper understanding of what it means to be human. It was a journey that had touched my heart and soul, and I knew that its influence would stay with me long after I left the emerald shores behind. The day of my departure from Ireland arrived with a mix of emotions that mirrored the ever-changing skies overhead. As I stood on the tarmac of the Dublin airport, watching the rain-kissed windows of the plane, I felt a deep sense of gratitude and a tinge of sadness. Farewells were never easy, especially when you were saying goodbye to a place that had become a part of your heart. The flight took off, and as I gazed out the window, I could see the rugged coastline of Ireland receding into the distance. The emerald fields, the quaint villages, and the ancient castles slowly faded from view. It was as if Ireland was bidding me farewell with one last glimpse of its beauty. As I reflected on my journey, I couldn't help but smile at the memories that flooded my mind. The taste of Irish stew in a cozy Dublin pub, the sound of traditional music in a lively Galway session, the awe-inspiring cliffs of Moher, and the warm conversations with strangers who had become friends. These were the snapshots of a journey that had transformed me in ways I couldn't fully express. Ireland had taught me the value of connection to people, to places, and to the stories that bind us all together. It had shown me the power of culture, the beauty of nature, and the joy of unexpected discoveries. It had reminded me to embrace serendipity, savor the present moment, and be grateful for the simple pleasures of life. As the plane soared higher into the sky, I closed my eyes, and in that moment, I felt like I was carrying a piece of Ireland with me, not just in the photographs and souvenirs, but in my heart and soul. Ireland had left an indelible mark, a reminder that the world was a vast and beautiful tapestry waiting to be explored. I knew that my farewell to the Emerald Isle was not a goodbye, but a until we meet again. Ireland had become a part of my story, and I carried its spirit with me as I embarked on new adventures. My heart was filled with gratitude for the experiences and memories, and my soul was enriched by the lessons learned. As the plane headed toward the horizon, I whispered a heartfelt thank you to Ireland, a land that had welcomed me with open arms and had forever left its mark on my journey through life. I invite you to join me in exploring more of the world through my other story videos. Whether it's my visit to London or my visit to Japan, each adventure is a unique tapestry of experiences waiting to be unraveled. So, as we part ways here, I encourage you to embark on your own journeys, for the world is vast, and its stories are waiting to be discovered. Safe travels.